let's talk a little bit more about Joe Musgrove. And Frank, you have found this on social media, and we have seen this now start to populate more and more. But there's a lot of accounts now posting advanced metrics for pitchers. And we saw this graph yesterday on Joe Musgrove, and there's a lot of stuff on there that we can break down from this particular graphic.
Yes. So let me, I did put the link in here, did I not? Yes, there it is. Okay. So this is from a Twitter account called Pitcher Profile, Pitch Profiler, pardon me. This is the graphic. We'll show it here on screen. Let me save it so this way we're not seeing the stupid comment section there. But this and other accounts like it are really starting to pop up to show how pitchers are doing and what that's not it. Show what pitchers are doing and how their mechanics and their release point, how it affects and how hitters are reacting when certain pitches come from a certain angle and where the release point is. So this is the graph that we've been looking at here.
And here's the thing. Like when you look at this graphic, and there's a lot of information on here, you got to break things down. Overall, this is from yesterday from Joe Musgrove pitching in a Cactus League game. Overall, his stuff looked healthy. This is what it's telling you. His velocity is normal to what it has been. His spin rates are strong. His curveball yesterday was elite. Pitch mix looked typical for Joe Musgrove, and the whiff rate was solid for a short outing. And for a first appearance after Tommy John, nothing here raises any type of red flags. And this is the bottom line of what happened yesterday. I mean, you can look at his overall numbers. If you look at the top right part of the box, it shows you the usual surface stats that you would see. And the surface stats say he gave up some contact, but spring training and, going against the WBC tune-up game, stuff evaluation, not really results for this particular outing. If you look at the left part of this graphic on YouTube, again, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our YouTube page. You can see these breakdown. If you're driving around listening right now and you want to see what we're talking about, you can go to our YouTube page and rewatch this particular segment at youtube.com/@B_SURP. You can find it there. Oh, foul on that guy, by the way. Braden Ward, who plays for the Red Sox, he's wearing number 92. I just looked up. He spells his name wrong in a bad way. He spells his name. I can't believe I got it. This is how bad of a tangent this is. This is how bad he spells. He spells his name so wrong. He spells it Braiden. What are we doing?
Squirrel.
Terrible. Foul on Braden Ward's parents for spelling their son's name wrong.
He draws the foul.
That poorly. Okay.
Squirrel.
Back to Joe Musgrove. If you look to the top left of the graphic, this will show where his arm releases the baseball. And the key idea here that you want to look for is consistent release equals good mechanics. And if you look at that graphic, Frank, that looks pretty tight for where he's releasing every single pitch yesterday. Tight cluster means his arm slot is consistent. Mechanics look repeatable. No obvious post-surgery compensation. That's a good sign after Tommy John. These are the things that you are looking for in outings from guys coming off of injuries. Consistency on the location.
Yeah, absolutely. And he is showing that. That's one of the things that was brought up in this little breakdown here. His mechanics are good, which means whatever he is doing is not being affected, whether intentionally or subconsciously, by him having the surgery. He's back to his old release. He's back to his old ways as if he never had an issue to begin with.
That's the biggest part of this entire thing. Now, the movement profile, that's in the middle chart. And what the movement profile tells you as it breaks down like the axes, the vertical movement, the horizontal movement. Obviously, vertical movement is up and down, horizontal is side to side. Each color cluster on that particular graphic is a different pitch. For example, the red cluster on there, four-seam fastball, the blue is his curveball, the brown is his cutter, the green is his changeup. And what that tells you is Musgrove's pitches are separating well, meaning hitters are seeing different shapes to the pitches, which is good. For example, the curveball drops a lot. The fastball rides up. The cutter moves more sideways. Pitch separation makes hitters uncomfortable, especially when you go back to the part of the graph on the left where you're seeing the release point come in at the same spot. That means his stuff was looking pretty good yesterday, Frank.
Yeah, and that's another thing that pitchers try to do, and I'm sure you've heard about tunneling when you're talking about pitching, is you want your fastball to come out of the same spot, come out of the same tunnel as your curveball to where the hitter can't pick it up. It's when you start like telegraphing where your fastball and where your curveball are coming out of, it makes them easier to hit. So if you have the same release point on all your pitches, which is virtually what Musgrove had, and you're seeing how much movement is coming out of those pitches, that's where you start seeing success as a pitcher.
Let's look at his breakdown of his pitch mix. So the pitch usage, that's on the right part of this chart. And it tells you how often he threw each pitch versus lefties and righties. And when you look at it, this is also good news for a guy coming off Tommy John because he threw his fastball 33%, he threw his cutter 20%, his curveball 20%, his sinker at 12%, his changeup at 7%, slider at 5%, sweeper at 3%. And the takeaway, this is classic Joe Musgrove, because he has always been a pitch mix guy. And this tells you that Joe is comfortable throwing everything again post-surgery, as you saw him display all 7 of his pitches yesterday in spring training.
We're talking pitching. I felt like I needed to
hold the rock a little bit.
Just
get the feel.
The same way we have, the same way Mark Grant always does. I just felt like I needed to have a baseball in my hands. But yeah, it's nice that he's also not shying away from any pitch. Now, the sweeper might be a newer pitch for him, so he may not be using it as much. But this is a very, very good sign. That means whatever torque is being put on his arm and whatever spin he's trying to get is not affecting his elbow in any way, shape, or form. So he's comfortable throwing whatever he needs to throw in order to get a guy out in any situation that he needs, which also it lends very, very well to him having recovered properly from this Tommy John surgery.
There's so many things with this that you can break down. But like the thing that really is the best takeaway from this is everything looked like Joe Musgrove. That's the biggest takeaway from this particular outing yesterday. Regards to the results, this is what like teams are looking at, right? This is why this chart is being broken down on social media. But you know, the velo on there is obviously his velocity, how fast he was throwing his pitches. He was throwing his fastball at 94.1, and based on a lot of the numbers on there, that's right in Musgrove's normal range. So that's good post-surgery. Spin via the RPMs on that sheet. Higher spin often equals better movement. His curveball, 2965 on the RPMs. Excellent spin on his curveball. Elite curveballs often spin around 2,800 to 3,000. So he's right there in the elite curveball portion from yesterday. Induced vertical break. We've talked about this a lot. This is how a pitch fights gravity. Higher number makes the ball look like it stays up longer. For example, his fastball at 5.4 inches. Anything above that makes it look like it's rising on them. And like we talked about, elite level for that is around 18 inches. It doesn't go as high in the desert, high altitude, usually. So I wouldn't look too far into that with his fastball.
That was one thing that we were talking about, the induced vertical break, that Nick Pivetta was getting elite levels of induced vertical break last year. And then he had his first start in Colorado and he was getting pummeled. And it was because he didn't have that induced vertical break that he would have had at any other stadium because of the altitude.
Correct. The horizontal break, that's, side to side. How much does the pitch move left to right? Example, his changeup, 14.1 inches. That's big arm side run and good for missing barrels. VAA on there, vertical approach angle. The angle the ball enters the strike zone, flatter angle, harder to hit. Musgrove's fastball, -5.52. That's a pretty solid Major League Baseball range. The HAA, horizontal approach angle, how the pitch approaches left or right into the zone, used mostly by pitching labs to evaluate deception. His numbers looked okay there yesterday. EXT, extension, how far the pitcher releases the ball toward home plate. Musgrove, approximately 6 feet, more extension, ball gets on hitters faster. You could talk about the arm angle too. Arm slot of the pitcher, Musgrove's about 47 to 49 degrees. That's a high 3/4 arm slot, typical for him. Important because consistency equals healthy mechanics. And the very important stat here is the pitch quality metric of Pro Stuff Plus. And the scale is simple. If it's 100, it's Major League average. If it's 110 plus, excellent. 120 plus, elite. And a lot of the examples from yesterday, if you look at his Pro Stuff Plus mix for his pitches, slider, elite level at 123, sweeper, 109, above average, curveball, 104 above average, changeup around average at 101. His fastball was a little bit below average, but his breaking ball stuff looked excellent yesterday. And this is all things that are running into him and his first start since Tommy John surgery. I look at this chart, Frank, and I was encouraged from yesterday's outing in terms of what I saw with my eyes. When you look at the details of this outing from Joe Musgrove, this sheet really gives you a pause and no longer a cause for concern to an extent, but definitely a step in the right direction of having Joe Musgrove be ready to go come the season time.
This is what we talk about when we say you don't know what pitchers are working on and you don't know what managers are looking at. This is the kind of stuff that managers are looking at. When you see a guy give up 5 hits over 2 innings in spring training, that's not what they're looking at. This is the stuff that they are looking at. They want to see spin rates. They want to see whether or not a guy is feeling and looking like his normal self. So the next time you get into this situation where you're overthinking some guy, like do it with Walker Buehler today, starting in the next 20 minutes or so. This is the kind of stuff that the Padres are looking at to determine whether or not he can be a number 5 starter in this starting rotation and not his final line.
Whiff percentage, how often hitters swing and miss. Example, the curveball was 100%. That means every swing missed. Small sample, but that's great on the curveball. His cutter was about 50%, very strong. Overall, 25% whiff rate. Solid for a short outing for Joe Musgrove. If you want to look even deeper, they got run value, which is RV divided by 100. This estimates how effective a pitch is at preventing runs. Negative numbers equals good. Example is fastball, -0.7. His cutter, -3.3. Negative equals hitters struggled. And overall, here's the key takeaways from this. What this means for Musgrove. The numbers actually say from yesterday that Joe Musgrove looked like Joe Musgrove. The velocity was normal at 94 miles an hour. His spin rates were strong, and his curveball looked nasty with almost 3,000 RPMs. The advanced metrics say his breaking stuff graded above league average, and hitters were missing and hitters were missing bats. For the first outing after Tommy John surgery, the biggest thing you're looking at in this is, does the stuff look normal? And according to the pitch data, it absolutely did. And that's a big plus for Joe Musgrove, Frank.
Yeah, he looked exactly how you would expect Joe Musgrove to look metric and analytics wise. The line, again, not necessarily what you're looking for. The fact that he threw 60 pitches, not great. But the fact that you're seeing him not afraid to use any of his pitches, not afraid to use his normal mechanics without any adjustments that he knowingly made. That is what you're looking for out of Joe Musgrove, because that means his elbow feels back to normal. He feels good. He feels comfortable with everything that's going on out there on the mound, and he feels in control. And coming off of Tommy John surgery, that is the most important thing.
3 big takeaways from Joe Musgrove's outing yesterday, aside from the stats and the fact that, he looked pretty good stat-wise in yesterday's game. But the 3 biggest takeaways are the velocity is back. 94 miles an hour, normal Musgrove. That's number 1 coming off of Tommy John surgery. Number 2, his curveball looks elite. We talked about this a couple of times already. Almost 3,000 RPM spin. This is elite level on his curveball, which is a great pitch for Joe. And he had a 100% whiff rate. I mean, that looked nasty yesterday, his curveball. Something to look for in the rest of spring training as Joe continues his progression. And number 3, his pitch mix is still intact. He was still able to throw 7 different pitches, meaning his full arsenal is back. That's great. That's the best news. Everything in terms of where he would be at if he was favoring something or still hurt or not up to where he was before Tommy John to show that he has declined did not show up in yesterday's small sample size. That's the good news. That's the big takeaway out of Joe Musgrove's outing yesterday, Frank. It was everything looked normal, and now he can continue to build off of what he did yesterday and hopefully get back to somewhat of the level of the pitcher that he was in a Padres uniform before he got hurt. Because if he continues on this path and he gets to where he was before in a Padres uniform after Tommy John surgery, this makes that rotation even better. And guess what it does? It makes that Fangraphs number for over-under on wins look even more erroneous, because the biggest knock on the Padres right now in terms of their over-under number for wins and losses is the starting pitching. And this is a good sign for the starting rotation.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like, that makes my very, very nitpick that you can only take, the only negative you can take is that he got hit. There were a couple of times, I think it was 7 of the batters he faced had an exit velocity, whether it was a hit or not, of over 95. That can be a problem. But again, when you're trying to pay attention to what his issues are, or what his issues should be coming off of Tommy John surgery, when you're looking at all of those metrics like we just did, it's about as good a sign as you could possibly get.
I'm encouraged by these numbers. Again, a lot of the times,
cautiously optimistic.
You see, and what was the account again that posted this stuff?
Pitch Profiler. There's another one that's going on. There's another one that's going around now too, which I haven't seen again, but I know I followed it.
And with this Pitch Profiler again, I mean, you see the graphic and you're just like, what is this? What is it explaining? What does this, mean? And so with the breakdown that we just gave, hopefully it helps you kind of read these charts a little bit better, because sometimes you see all this stuff, right? Like, I just pulled up Tetsuya Mai. I'm like, right off the top, what am I looking at? But after you dive into and research a little bit on this, it makes it a lot more informative on whether or not the guy did well or not.
Yeah, Pitch Profiler seems to be the more accurate one. The more not accurate, the more present of the two. It's posts from every pitcher all around Major League Baseball, or most every pitcher.
Yeah, they just posted Taj Bradley for the Twins 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, they just posted. I mean, they've posted Sandy Alcantara. They've posted some of the Brewers guys. Luis Perellis, they just posted from the Nationals 9 minutes ago. So this is also the account that said that the Padres are a demon factory. So they're paying attention to what's going on.
I think so too. I mean, there's a lot of good numbers here that we want to break down, and we'll see what. And I can't wait to see what Walker Buehler stuff. I can't wait to see Walker Buehler pitch.